All right, so they asked on stream if I would take a look at Brodie Smith's latest video with Drew Gibson and teaching some backhands. I really like what Drew says, a lot of it. I think he's addressing a lot of the problems that a lot of people have in their form. And he's gotten to be a lot better teacher over the past few years. But I thought I'd do a side-by-side to help Brodie specifically with his backhand. So let's see if I can make it go frame by frame again. That was cool. How was I doing that? Seriously, though, how was I doing that? There we go. Okay. The biggest thing that I notice is, first off, what they were talking about a lot in the video is head placement. And definitely it looks like Brodie's not committing to his reach back as much because Drew is turned his shoulders a little bit farther away from the target. But the biggest thing is that Brodie is setting his front foot down towards the target, which means that he's rotating forward first. Right? I feel like Brodie's reaching back and then he's trying to throw all at once forwards. And you can kind of see that in his shot because the disc comes up by his neck, and right here it's up. And then the release point is down here. So that creates a downward angle. And what you have to do to not throw it into the ground at that point is to air skip it. And that is throwing nose up. You can see a comparison on Drew here. His reach back is down here, and his release point is on the same plane to slightly higher than that. It's definitely not lower, and that's why he's able to get the nose down. So the biggest thing is to try and keep the disc on that plane the whole time. So, for example, if I were to throw a disc like that, right? Like that's the patent. That's like a traditional air skip. That's a shot in Ultimate where you're trying to throw underneath the defender, where you kind of throw it and spin it and try and get the lift. That's effectively like an exaggeration of what Brodie's doing. So rather than starting, I mean, he's reaching back at a low spot, but as he's pulling, he's just trying to smash it from the peak of the reach back. And what I always teach is slow is smooth and smooth is far. That's a phrase. I didn't invent that phrase, but I use it a lot because it's really good for describing the disc golf throw. And trying to smash it from the peak of a reach back is kind of like, I like to talk about it like pounding in a nail. If you have a hammer and there's a nail and you try and hit it as hard as you can, you're probably going to miss. You're not going to pound the nail very well. But if you use like a measured, controlled stroke, you're going to hit the nail a lot harder because you're going to be fast rather than just smashing it as hard as you can. So that's where it applies to disc golf. So if I were Brodie, what I would advise is to focus on, you're reaching back fine, but try and keep delay your acceleration, right? So you're rather than starting from where you're reaching back and just yeeting it from there, which is very common. It's my biggest mistake when I throw. I'm not trying to pick on you. It's a very common mistake. Try and delay the speed until you're already into this power pocket here, right? Because Drew is not yeeting it from right here. He's a strong dude. If he was yeeting it from right there, you'd be able to tell. He really powers it once it's in here. It's almost like a curve that goes like that for power. So the first bit of the throw is just kind of getting it moving, and then right towards the end is really when you apply the power. And that's going to let you keep the disc lower, right? Instead of coming up here, it's going to be a lot lower down here, and that's going to end up with a lot more power. And you'll be able to get the nose down a lot easier. And so as far as practical ways to do that, the first thing I would recommend is trying to plant your front foot on the ball of your foot. Right now, we'll flip back to the other camera. When your front foot touches down, your heel touches first. And you can see Drew's touches with the ball of his foot first. So that's because he's delaying that rotation, delaying that power until the end of the throw. But Brodie is smashing from the peak of his reach back, and so he's already started that forward momentum. And then that's the number one practical thing would be to plant that on the ball of your foot. And then the second thing would be to try and think of speeding up towards the release. Try and make the moment the disc leaves your hand the fastest. Because if you start fast, your speed kind of drops off as you throw and your release isn't as fast. But if you start slow and then speed up towards the end, then your release point ends up a lot faster. So if you're struggling with the same things as Brodie, I hope that helps. Always remember, thanks for watching. I forgot what I was going to say. Thanks for watching it. Always remember, slow is smooth, and smooth is far.